For more stories like these, go to www.social-tv.co.za, subscribe to us on YouTube, and follow us on our social mediums.
Let me be honest. With so much information about COVID-19, the pandemic, the lockdown, and how countries are responding to it, and now potentially the testing of vaccines, it's easy to forget that those that don't scream the loudest also have a voice. And when I'm talking about those voices, we obviously heard from the taxi industry, the alcohol and tobacco industry, the restaurant industry. But when last did you hear from the glass manufacturing industry, the guys that are actually affected by the lack of alcohol sales? Now, can you imagine? The alcoholic beverages industry accounts for about 85% of sales in the glass packaging industry. That is crazy. Since the initial lockdown, they've lost 1.5 billion rand. What makes it worse for Isanti Glass is that these guys acquired Nampak Glass on the 1st of April 2020. Can you believe it? We have a chat to the CEO of Isanti Glass, Shakes Matiwaza, about what the industry is like and how are they going to survive this lockdown period. That's our social newscast today with me, Sam Marshall. Shakes, thank you very much for your time. Shocking numbers. Well, 85% of the glass packing industry relies on the alcohol industry. A lot of people are focused on alcohol, but they haven't really focused on the glass packaging industry. What is it like at the moment within the industry?
Look, I think you're absolutely right. We don't feel that there is a focus on the impact of the ban on alcohol on the supply chain to the alcohol industry. I think, obviously, without the sales of alcohol, we are heavily impacted as the suppliers to the alcohol industry, and that means that a lot of livelihoods are getting affected down the line. So where we are is that we've had to streamline our production and send people out on forced leave. And while we wait for this latest ban on alcohol to run its course, the difficulty is that we're not sure when it's going to end. So it's really, we're operating in a period of uncertainty at the moment. So it is quite difficult for us to really plan or know where we're going. And the impact is quite severe.
Shakes, with so many balls up in the air and the industry itself not knowing in which direction it's going, how do you guys stay confident about your future? As leaders, what is the conversation you guys are having with each other, and what are some of the measures that you guys are thinking about putting in place to make sure that at the end of this lockdown period that there'll be a business to go to?
I think that is a major concern for us, for all the leaders in the glass industry. We are in conversation, and we are trying to reach out to all the relevant stakeholders in government and through other various channels like NEDLAC and all the like. I think really what we are asking for is for clarity, because it's very difficult to run a business in a period of uncertainty. And we're asking for clarity on how long this ban is going to be for. And and so we've written to DTI as the glass packaging industry, and we are waiting for responses, but we're not really getting much responses on that front. But I think that is a very difficult sphere to be in. We're really not clear way how long this ban is gonna be for, and as a result, it's impacting quite a lot of people in the value chain. We've got, I think, if you look at the glass industry employs about 26,000 people directly and indirect jobs that could be affected down the line. We've got about 7,000 people that are actually also impacted through the waste glass collection industry, and all those kind of things are really people who are getting impacted down the line.
Isanti Glass is a black-owned industrialist company. You guys actually acquired Nampak Glass in
That is correct.
2020, in the
Yes.
same year that we have this black swan moment. Between yourselves and Console Glass, you have invested assets to the tune of 20 billion. I can't begin to wrap my head around these numbers.
Look, I think the glass industry, the nature of our industry is that it's we it relies on heavy capital investment into our assets. We run furnaces that are not cheap structures to put up. They cost a lot of money to put up a furnace, and there's a lot of planning involved in setting up an industry of this nature. I think the challenge we have, you right, especially as the Isanti Glass. I mean, we took over this business on the 1st of April, actually, right at the beginning of lockdown. I think we couldn't have chosen a worse time, even if we had planned it. It's been a very challenging period, as you say. We're a black industrialist company that we're actually hoping to make inroads into the glass packaging space. Through level 5 and level 4, obviously we were quite affected, but we remained hopeful that sooner or later the ban on alcohol was going to be lifted, and it did get lifted on the 1st of June, and things started to look promising. But as obviously we were starting to prepare our business and plan where we're going and all the stuff as a new entrant into the glass packaging sector, then there was this latest ban that came through and totally unexpected. That has really put the spanner on the works, and the longer it goes, it's really going to affect us quite significantly, and it could lead to the company folding. And I think the one thing to say though is that everyone understands where government is coming from with these measures, these restrictions that they are putting in place, and I think for us it's really a matter of striking a balance between mitigating the health risks and saving lives on one hand, and also preserving people's long-term livelihoods on the other. Somewhere there has to be a balance because the virus may come and go, but in the long term, the country is going to suffer significantly if we end up in a period where the glass industry closes down and it gets really deindustrialized. And you're talking about investments of about 20 billion, as you pointed out. Those are significant numbers to reverse in the next few years, or if you can ever reverse it.
Right.
So that's really the concern.
Many people have criticized government to say that there isn't enough consultations happening at the moment. We know that government needed initially to put a plan in place to deal with the potential peak of the COVID-19 pandemic. But now we're months into it. Government, by its own account, says that they have a much better understanding, even though there more and more discoveries are being made every day around how the virus works and how the social nature of the virus interacts with individuals. Do you share that criticism that 4 months in, the government still is not facilitating the right conversations?
I think that is correct. When we started this process, everyone was really behind government. We understood what government was trying to do. They were trying to lessen the impact, particularly on the health sector, and we were all supportive. And we knew that, look, at some point we will be given space to resume our business activities while at the same time assisting government with addressing the spread of the pandemic and all of that. and we'll do our own measures within our own companies to make sure that all the regulations are adhered to, and there is no to limit the spread of the virus. But the consultation hasn't been there to say the least. I mean, if you look at the latest ban, that it really came out of the blue and totally unexpected, and running a business and trying to contribute to the economy, that becomes very difficult to work around that. So I think, look, as I was saying, that we understand what government is trying to do, but the way they are going about it and the lack of consultation makes things very difficult for us. And it also makes things difficult for us to understand where they are going, how decisions are made, and all the stuff. So we are a bit disappointed about the way government has gone about it.
And some of the things that you guys have tabled in terms of potential strategies other than a complete alcohol ban is almost common sense. You're saying, let's limit alcohol purchase amounts and times. Let's enforce BAC levels for drivers. Let's reduce alcohol advertising, and let's take action against unlicensed vendors, but you're against a complete ban.
Yeah, look, these are some of the things that have been tabled, particularly by the big players in the alcohol industry, and but I don't think it's reached the right audience in government, or whether they've been given an opportunity to be listened to. And those are really some of the things that the industry is putting together to say, look, let's contribute to assist government in what government is trying to do in managing the pandemic. I think the challenge we have here is that, the truth of the matter is that some of these the social ills that come out of alcohol abuse, if you can put it that way, these are things that have been with us for ages, for many years in our lives, and you could find a vaccine tomorrow for the pandemic, but the social ills will continue to be with us, relating to social ills relating to the abuse of alcohol. So there is an element within ourselves that, look, these need to be approached in a very strategic, long-term planning manner to address them. You can't then use the pandemic to then just try to get them addressed right away. You can obviously, we understand that, look, alcohol may contribute to putting pressure on the health systems and things like that, especially when people abuse it. But there are measures that you can put in place to lessen that. But at the same time, government needs to work with the alcohol industry to address the long-term negative impacts of alcohol. And those are some of the measures that the alcohol industry is trying to put across to government through the proper channels that we've embarked on.
Shakes, final question. We've seen many industries eventually go the legal route. Are you speaking to your lawyers? Are you considering legal action? What is the next step for you?
Look, so far we haven't considered legal action. I think we believe that, look, government and business need to work together to find a solution for the long-term benefit of this country and this economy. Because without doing so, the consequences are going to be catastrophic for the glass industry and for livelihoods in the glass industry and the alcohol industry. And we think the best way to deal with this issue is through dialogue. But unfortunately, we're not getting a platform to have that dialogue properly with government. And so far, we're hoping that we will not get to the legal route. The legal route just becomes very adversary, and you don't get much progress through it. So we'll try by all means as much as possible to engage government, and we'll keep knocking. Hopefully, at some point, someone will open the door and talk to us before we get to the legal route as a last resort.
Shakes, thank you very much for your time, and we wish you the best of luck.